I'm Kim Bailey, she's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec. Today we're going to talk about personal excellence and personal best, and Fulyana's struggling with the topic, so I'm going to put her straight on the spot and say, tell us about personal excellence.
Yeah, she's putting me on the spot all right, because I had no idea what I'm going to talk about. Personal best is, to me, is I'm setting a goal, whatever that is. It might be a career. I know she hates it, so that's what I'm doing. So if that goal is to get to, within a career, you get to the next level or whatever, then you think, I achieved that, then I keep going. Excellence is a bit different. To me, that's much, much wider. How do I know what I'm excellent at? I don't know. What I do know is if I keep doing within the same environment, the same thing, what I'm doing now, how do I know that I'm not musical until I try it? How do I know that I'm not a painter until I try it? So I think excellence means to me is opening up a whole new thing that you haven't thought about before and thought, I'm going to try. I'm going to try to write a book, I'm going to try to paint, whatever comes to your mind.
It's no about script. Having the moonshot. We talked about moonshots at the beginning of the second part of our 100th episode. So if you haven't listened to that, there's actually a video introduction, and we talk about moonshots in that. To me, personal excellence, knowing a lot about the sporting world as well as other things, personal excellence or personal best. We talk about personal best first of all. So for most sports people, they have a running activity that is their personal best, and they know what their personal best is, whether it's in training or whether it's in competition, and they are looking to better that all the time. So they're looking personally at making themselves better every time they do a particular activity. Personal excellence, on the other hand, would be a much broader term, and it would encompass more than just their actual performance. So their personal excellence might be the goal that is beyond what they're doing now. And this is where we talked about the moonshots, where it's if you're a 9 or a 10-year-old and you're running at Little Athletics and each week you get a personal best that is a time or a distance that's better than the week before or better than you've done previously. Personal excellence for you and your moonshot in that situation might be thinking about the Olympics. That might be the goal that is so far beyond what you are doing day to day at the moment that you just keep it there and you keep looking towards it. The way we look at the moon, the way we look to in the 50s and 60s to putting a man on the moon. You know, that's where the phrase comes from, the moonshot. For me, personal excellence is more than just personal best and always increasing that personal best. Personal excellence is about being the best that I can be at everything I do every day.
It's also realising that you might be better at some things than others, and the only way you're going to do that is by looking wider, casting the net wider, so to speak, and then saying, now within that I am good at, say, gardening or painting or whatever it is, or I'm actually not. And not only that, but it's not the point. The point is I don't enjoy it. So that is not my priority. My priority is to do something else, and whatever that is, then I want to do my personal best. So it'll become excellent within my repertoire, but it also becomes I'm the best I could be within it.
And that might mean not doing things. It might mean identifying that I'm not good at this and I'm not ever going to be good at it in a sense that it will contribute to my personal excellence. So my personal excellence will be better because I don't do it, because I outsource it, because I find another way of that activity being done, whatever it is. But my personal excellence shines because I don't focus on trying to do that thing.
One of the things that I learned over time is it's good to be your own judge and counsel and be confident within your decisions, but don't just be self-reliant in that way, because sometimes listening to others, they see things that you don't, and that certainly happened to me throughout life, is where somebody saw that I'm much better at something than I ever thought, and I would not have attempted, but it was through somebody's eyes I could see that, and in some cases it's the reverse. So it doesn't mean somebody tell you, no, you're not good at that, so you just go, oh, I'm not good at that. That's not what I mean. What I mean is use your own judgment, give it a go, but also listen to how other people are seeing you and take notice of that and try it out.
And I think too that we might have a tendency to sometimes set the personal excellence levels at levels that we know we can achieve,
Yes.
rather than ones that we should be reaching for, stretching for, and we get complacent. We think that, yes, I've reached this level, I've got this job, I've got this house, I've got this family, I've got all of the things that I set out to achieve, so I must now be at the level of personal excellence that is the limit for me. And again, it's that assessment, it's looking at what you want to achieve, what you're contributing, and I think that the level of excellence that you have as a person, as an individual, has to be a combination of your contribution as well as the activities that you're doing. And that contribution to me is about giving back to the workplace, giving back to the community, giving back to your family, giving back to people that you don't even know. So it's a whole range of things that create you as the person and are the backbone of being and living your personal best and living a life of personal excellence.
To help along the way, I think we all been conditioned, if you like, in a good way, to measure how we're going. So putting some measurements in place about how do you measure where you are on your own scale of excellence. You set your scale and then you choose the way you want to measure it. So if you decided, I want to spend a bit of my time doing community work, what is that? Is it how much of your time? What's realistic, and what is that in percentage or number of days or hours or whatever? And this way you can measure it. If you say, I want to be that good human being who would go and help my family, or whatever you choose, in other words, find a way to measure it so that you can know how you're going.
And also I think when you do the measurements and you record it, because it is important to record it as well, not just to do the thinking about it measurement, but to actually record it, put it away, and then go back to it at some considerable time later. And you will get a sense of how far you have come, how much you have travelled on the journey of your personal excellence path, and it reassures you and encourages you that you can continue to move forward, because it's very hard for us to look back on something that is as personal as this and say, oh, well, I know that I used to do this and now I do this. And it might be as simple as I used to smoke and now I don't. That is a huge step in being a better human being, I believe.
Well, it's certainly something that you became excellent at if that was the decision you made not to smoke, and then you achieved it and maintained it, which is a big deal.
And it's excellence on a couple of levels, because it's excellence in terms of setting a goal and achieving that goal. It's a physical excellence because you've gone from being questionably healthy to a better health outcome. It's a mental toughness decision because you've gone from something that probably gave you pleasure and gave you a physical reward through a period of time where you had to adjust, and your body had to adjust, and your head had to adjust, and your thinking, and in some cases your social interactions, because it was all based around social interaction, to a point where you've had the discipline to go through that. And I think personal discipline is something that we don't often measure or acknowledge. So you've got the opportunity to acknowledge that and to measure it and to know that, because you have used your discipline in that instance once already, that you can use that discipline in other ways as well. And so it might be that you've done that particular activity for a personal or health reasons, and you struggle with meeting deadlines or setting goals at work. And so you look at the fact that you've had the discipline in this area and you think, well, I've had the discipline there. I just have to apply it to this other area and make it work. Find a way to make the discipline fit into the activities that I'm doing so that I can look at my personal excellence and keep improving that personal best performance.
And please don't be afraid or shy to share those experiences. I'm not talking about become painful and be the bragger that everybody goes, oh, I don't want to hear about that anymore. But share it with the people who are interested, because it can be motivational. It can help others who thought they couldn't do something, and ask if you actually see somebody achieved something. Don't be afraid to ask them, to just say, look, I've noticed that, have I got the right picture? It looks really good from what I'm sitting. Would you mind telling me a bit more about how you did that? Or how did it feel for you to do that? To me, I've learned a lot from other people's experience, and that's, I guess, one of the main reasons is why Kim and I do these podcasting, is because and if you notice, there was a theme lately with all these topics. It's all about personal and being personal best and being a good human being and being connected and all of that. And that's really came about by people wanting us to talk about that. And they don't want the psychology book on it. They don't want the expert opinion. They want regular persons to talk about it so that it's more real and tangible.
And just one little story that I will relate to you. I have a niece who has struggled for most of her adult life with anxiety, and she's had professional help, and as part of that professional help process she needs to do an assessment every so often that gauges what level of her anxiety and her stress is at a particular time. So the last test she did was about 5 years ago, and she was in the high range for everything, and we knew that it was a very difficult time for her, and she had a lot of things that she needed to face. So just in the last 2 weeks she's been back, had another assessment, and I got this wonderful email that, and I will say that in that period of time we have talked about how she's feeling, we've talked about what coping mechanisms that she's using, she's had some medical help, and she's faced some of the things that she needed to face. She had her assessment, as I said, a couple of weeks ago. I got the email that said, I don't believe it, I had the test and my anxiety level is medium to low and my stress level is in the normal range. I can't believe it, I'm so excited. Now, she didn't know herself because she didn't judge it the way the test judges it. She was still thinking about all the things she needed to do. Not thinking about the path that she'd already travelled, knowing that she'd travelled the path and knowing that, yes, she felt better and she was coping better in certain situations. But this test, that was the same as she did last time, was giving her statistical information that said, here's how much you've improved, here's what's changed. And it was so exciting for her and for me as well to know that she had that measure and she was embracing it and celebrating it and sharing it. Now, she only shared it with me. As Fulyana said, you just share it with the people that are interested. But we were excited, and it gave her the impetus to continue on. Now, in other situations, she's also, in that period of time, decided that she'd give up smoking, and she's probably tried to give up about 5 times in that period of time as well. And for her, the way to ensure that she got encouragement for that activity was to use the social media. So she didn't do it every day, but she would put up and say, it's now been this many days, it's now I'm at this point, I'm feeling this, I need to have a cigarette. And the support she got in that journey through the social media group was what got her through. So she didn't need people every day. She's in a country area, so she wouldn't have the opportunity to see people every day. Say, oh, how's the giving up smoking going? You know, probably the worst question you can ask someone who's going through that process is to remind them that they're giving up smoking.
Yeah.
But she did need people to say, good on you, you're doing well, you can do it. Those sorts of things. Just simple words, not a whole flowery conversation, just something that boosted her at the times when she needed it. So there's value in social media in those situations when you are isolated, as we talked about in a previous podcast, to encourage you and to help you on the path. So you don't have to go it alone. You don't have to always be measuring yourself. You do, as Fulyana said, need to share it with others that are going to help you, and you'll know who they are. I think we've probably covered how we can look at our personal excellence and our personal best in terms of work or our lives generally. So we'll leave it there. Please, if you've got some suggestions, if you've got some things that you want to share with us, drop us a line. For now, I'm Kim Bailey, she's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec.